to win a car race.
Should be a good one.
And as you're driving, saying, hey, make it run better.
You could have a posse of waifus.
Starting off kind of strangely.
Slaying the land.
Welcome to the show.
This is insanity.
Taking a critical look at the gaming news of the week.
This info is pretty shocking.
Somebody's got to give an answer to this.
This is Augmented Reality.
You are watching my favorite channel.
I've not heard of them.
The Triple S League. Enjoy, guys.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Augmented Reality, the podcast that is your source for news, leaks, and analysis of games and the gaming industry. Coming at you live on YouTube and Twitch, and archived almost anywhere you can find podcasts. Ash here with you with Cyb and Moontag, as always. And we'll ask you to bear with us with some audio quality issues today, just because,
we are live reporting from the pad of the International Space Station launch pad.
Might as well be, yes.
I said pad there twice. I'm assuming that's why it's like 10,000 degrees here currently, but yeah, it's great.
So there's I'm sure most of you are aware of the big heat wave that's blasting most of North America and other parts of the world too. I've heard it's really, really warm in Europe. And anyway,
it is nighttime right now. The sun has gone down, and we are currently sitting at 40 degrees outside. If you don't have air conditioning, that means you're sitting at around like
now that's Celsius.
45.
That's Celsius for you Americans. That's
yeah, that's 100 degrees. Just so you know, 100 degrees. If you're sitting inside a building that doesn't have AC and you're on like the upper floors, I think I'm sitting at currently like about 115. It's great.
Yeah, but I'm in my basement, so it's nice and cool down here. But Cyb and Moon,
yeah, isn't that nice for you?
I'm just saying, Cyb and Moon have fans going because otherwise they'll just die while we're doing this. So the noise.
If you feel sorry for us, you can always throw us some dollars, and we'll put it towards getting a nice big old AC unit. That's what our friend Des Mephisto said today. It was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Somebody's like, "Why is their fans going off?" He's like, "Because I'm a poor streamer."
So anyway, but that just explains, like, if their audio sounds a little bit off in terms of quality, that's why. Then the noise reduction is working well. Like, you can't hear the fan noise, but it does reduce the quality of their actual audio that's coming over the stream. But anyway, it's definitely well within acceptable parameters in my opinion. But all right, so what are we talking about tonight? Okay, we got QuakeCon coming up in August, and id Software, subsidiary of Bethesda, subsidiary of Microsoft, they just put out Doom Eternal last year, and then earlier this year they released Doom 3 VR, which was leaked in quotes. So basically it was kind of discovered a little bit beforehand by its rating being published in Australia, but it's been a little bit sneaky in that they've been putting a code name. So it was Project 2021A, and that turned out to be Doom 3 VR. Now the Australia Ratings Board has put out a classification for Project 2021B from id Software. So are they putting out another full game this year? And if so, what is it? And does it have anything to do with the fact that this is the 25th anniversary of Quake?
I mean, I feel like it has to, right? Like, I feel like they have to be putting out something. They've called this 2021B. So
yeah,
to me,
that
this
suggests
kind of screams, that it is coming out this year. And I've been mentioning for a while. Was kind of annoyed heavily at the E3 summer event. This heat's making my processor work overtime. That there wasn't any big Bethesda studio, out of the many studios that they have, there was no giant Bethesda thing, right? Like, we were expecting a drop this year, and we got nothing. It's all like, hey, wait until 2022, right? Like, and that's so exciting to do. It's just you've been waiting for 5 years for the next game, and they tell you to wait another year and a half. It's so exciting, brilliant choice of timing there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's kind of it's kind of stupid. It's kind of stupid, but they may have been saving something for QuakeCon, because apparently QuakeCon is going to be quite big, and apparently they're going to be doing a lot of stuff. So interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So what else do we know about QuakeCon? Like
nothing much right now. Like, we know that it's going ahead, or at least they're planning on it going ahead. We hope that it's not impeded by this whole variant D or whatever.
Wait, is it going on? Is it going on as an in-person event, or is it online?
That's what I've been hearing. So
In person
again,
Oh, wow.
I don't think any of this stuff is I don't believe any of this stuff is set in stone. For obvious reasons. It's 2021.
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's no way that anything here is actually set in stone, ready to go, will continue no matter what, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's just not going to happen. So that's kind of like one of those things where it's like, yeah, maybe not. We'll see, obviously.
Right. Okay. But you've been hearing that they're planning a lot for it, though. So
Yeah. No, I've been sorry. I'm mouse clicking through this stuff. Yeah. So they're planning multiple things, right? Like multiple eventualities. I think the preference is to have a somewhat open QuakeCon. Like, they really, really, really want that to kind of go through, right? Like, everybody wants that to go through.
Mm-hmm.
Online events are not as, we know this now. Online events are not as exciting and as, defining as what they have. Now, I think there's a lot of direction to be had with overall stuff going forward, but I think we're still they're still going to try and get back to that as quickly as they can.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. But yeah, so as we were saying, so this very likely could be something that'll be showcased at QuakeCon. It should be very interesting. It's interesting that id Software has another game, 2021B, that's been rated in Australia, and it has been rated. What was the actual rating? I might have to switch to my other article here, but yeah, it's rated. It's rated pretty high, like it's mature or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
which is not. I mean, this is id Software, of course. So, but there's been rumors of another Quake game being in the works, and so Xbox Era's. This says Xbox Era's Nick Baker has posted a video in which he cited sources familiar with the developer have said a new Quake game is in the works at id Software and Machine Games. So that's interesting. We didn't see anything from Machine Games during E3 either. Now, if I'm not mistaken, they're the studio that is supposed to be working on this Indiana Jones game that Bethesda's going to be doing. But if they're also working on this Quake game, and if they were saving that for QuakeCon for the 25th anniversary of Quake, well, it makes sense. It makes sense. So what else do we know about possible new Quake game then?
Well, I mean, so the only way it would be a new Quake game, because they said new IP, right? So that obviously that would immediately take away the concept of it being a Quake game. But does it? Because it's been a long time since we've seen a Quake game, and there hasn't really been that much of a storyline to go with it. So if they were introducing a new game featuring a new main character going through a new take on the world, I mean, I would call that a new IP, right? Most people would call that a new IP.
Who said that it was a new IP, though? Like, where did that come from?
There's a couple of websites that are reporting this. It's a new IP. So
whatever.
Again,
okay.
I don't think, because this information leaked, essentially, none of this stuff we can take as a guarantee, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But what we're hearing from multiple sources is that this was slated to be a new IP, and if that's what they're saying, then we got to assume that there's got to be some truth to it.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't call that a new IP if it's a new, even if it's completely different characters inside a new universe. But I guess we're kind of getting into definitional nitty grittiness there. But anyway, so yeah, this is really quite interesting. So let us know what you think. By the way, if you are listening live in the live chat, please do slam that like button if you haven't yet, and of course subscribe. All that good stuff. Leave comments below if you're listening after the fact. We love hearing from you. We love hearing your thoughts. Tell us if you're interested in QuakeCon. Obviously, the Bethesda showcase at E3 was, kind of meh, but to put it lightly,
slightly.
I've heard some people say it was really good. It was one of the better ones of E3. Yeah, it wasn't for me. I just, it was kind of blah. But that had a lot to do with Starfield being announced and then not announced, but us getting our first major reveal of it, and then it's not coming out till the end of 2022. Okay, whoop-de-doo. I'm not doing the hype game again. I'll start to get hyped about it in a year maybe when I know more about it and if it's still looking really good. So, all right, yeah. Last Quake was Quake Champions 2017. Yes, and you know what, Terror Kate? Did you know that's still in early access, even now? So, I mean,
we've been over this before. The concept of early access allows them to. So, if you have an early access game and it's the exact same game as another game, we're using multiple things, story time here. So you got two games. They're identical. One you label early access, and the other one you label as a full release. If you contact the platform, let's say it's on both PlayStation and Xbox, you say, hey guys, I got a major update to push out for this game, for game number 1. It's in early access. The download is 2 gigabytes. We're ready to go on this here. We're gonna send it up to you guys here in about 15 minutes. The response from the platforms will be, thank you. We will have this ready to go and upload at your arrival. Now you call in 5 minutes later with the second game that's in quote unquote full release. It's the exact same game as the early access game. You go, hey, I got another DLC update. It's 2 gigs. It's a big update for the game here. It's full release. Your response is, hold on now. Hold on. You just updated this like a week ago. Well, yeah, we had some bugs to squash. Yeah, but you can't upload this again. You're going to have to wait a couple weeks. And you're also going to have to pass it through our investigators, which will scan the data and make sure that there's nothing on there that's, bad for business. And the guy's like, but we just uploaded the same thing. It's the same thing. It's the same game. And they're going to respond, no, you can't do that. That's why certain games are now perpetually in early access, air quotes, and will continue to stay that way for the foreseeable future. I suspect that roughly half of the games going forward will be in, air quotes, early access or beta or alpha. And that's just the way that and I don't like that. I don't like that because the majority of them aren't using that to the best of what they could, right? They're not doing what Fortnite does, and they're not doing what Larian Studio does with Baldur's Gate 3. And what they did with the DOS 2.
Mm-hmm.
So DOS 2, Baldur's Gate, and Fortnite, the developers on those teams look at these games, they look at what they're putting out, they look at the content that they're making, they say, I love this, the community speaking now, we love this, we don't like that. We like this feature, we don't like that feature. Now, in World of Warcraft, the developers sit around and go, all right, we got a list of things that we're really hating on. okay, make sure that we really prioritize making that the main thing that everybody has to do immediately upon logging into the game, period. We want to chase away as many paying customers as we possibly can. Just really like screw them over as hard and as fast as we can. That's what Activision Blizzard does. Is they decide to find out what people hate the most and then make that the key feature in the next content patch. Most other companies that actively have like an active require constant growth and evolution of their game, such as Larian and Fortnite. They're like, hey, let's not be absolute and complete idiots, because that would not be healthy for us or our customers. It would just drive people nuts. We don't want to do that. And that's the difference, right? Some companies, and there's a lot of companies that are going to fall into that Activision Blizzard thing. Not necessarily, of course I'm over exaggerating that just a little bit, but that's the sad thing, is that it's only a little bit that I'm exaggerating that out. Like, everybody saw a patch note came in a couple days ago on WoW's big expansion dropped today. And it said, everybody said they hated this one thing. Everybody said universally they hated this one thing. It targeted a certain number of players and kind of screwed them over. So the brainheads over there said, oh, cool. Right. So let's just put in a patch that screws everybody over. Instead of fixing it for the small number of people so that they don't have to deal with this, we'll just screw everybody over. Because that's a great idea. Like, that's literally what's going on. It's mind-blowing and absolutely, like, mental in every way, shape, and form. It's like, wow. Idiots.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the generalized, like, thing with that. Just in case you weren't clear.
Fair enough. But anyway, yeah. We do have a couple more possible details about the game. And I'm not going to bring this article up because it's literally... The page is 90% ads. It's from metro.co.uk. But basically, it's rumored that the new game has both single and multiplayer modes, as well as a female protagonist. So,
and again, this is all reported. Nothing here
nothing set in stone. Nothing set in stone. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. But if QuakeCon is an in-person event again, I mean, that is just so. It is about. I gotta tell you, this feeling of impending freedom from lockdowns and things like that is just invigorating me. We get to. There's actually live Canada Day events happening here this year, so like.
And don't get used to it, guys. I don't say that because I'm happy. I say that because I'm very, 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 very concerned. I legitimately am. Don't, for the love of God, don't get used to this too much. Like, with this whole variant thing running around, I just don't want people to feel like, they're at the end, they can finally breathe and they'll never have this problem again. No. There's going to be lots of shenanigans, and I don't want you to get depressed when those shenanigans show up. I want you to hold your head up high and get through it. And I loathe to say that, but that's what I feel really hard. And I try not to talk too much about this stuff, but I kind of feel that this is unfortunately the thing that's coming down the line here. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it doesn't, but we'll see.
People aren't going to take too much more of this unless it becomes really serious. People are not going to take too much more of this. I know I won't. I have lost people not to COVID, but to the lockdowns.
The depression of it.
The having the effect on their mental health that led them to do things that ultimately killed them. And we really shouldn't be going down this road in this conversation, but I'm telling you, man, this there's something to be said for things aren't going to go back to normal until we go back to normal. And I mean, obviously, if some serious thing comes down the pipe, then obviously we'll need to take some precautions. But I hope we've learned some lessons from the first wave, and maybe do things in a better way. But anyway, that's definitely a side tangent that we'll have to put that aside for the time being. But I have very strong feelings about a lot of it, especially as I've been
we all have very strong feelings about it. But
learning about some of the BS that went on and the misinformation about the virus and everything that's happened over the past year and a half. And I'm just
But we all trust local and federal governments to always have our best, thing at heart, and we always follow the rules.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yes. And
I am smiling and winking heavily right now in case this isn't transferring. We always trust and do exactly as we're told.
Yes, like the good little automatons we are. Yes, I'm very cynical about this topic. But anyway, we'd better get off that before we get ourselves in trouble. But yes, I mean, with live events coming back, and let's just live in the hope for a little while. Let's just live in the hope. I mean, like I said, this summer, again, live events, like actual in-person things are returning to the town where I live. And I took my family swimming a few days ago for the first time in well over a year, and it felt like a mountain vacation, just going to the pool. It's such a weird thing, and just realizing how much
Moon and I are considering going for a pancake breakfast. It's the most exciting thing I've had kind of going on in my head for the last couple of weeks, and it's like, ooh, a pancake breakfast. Ooh, so fancy. Wow. So yeah, there's stuff going on, and yeah, I agree, but I also don't want people to be depressed when things happen again. We can get through this again, and this time maybe more people are willing to kind of keep people accountable. We'll see. I kind of doubt it.
I mean, it can't keep happening. We can't keep doing this for the rest of our lives, and so something's got to change.
Well, you forget what a certain French queen once said when people were like, "We can't continue to do this. We're hungry. We're starving. We're dying here. We need something." And she looked at them and said, "Well," sorry, I need to get the accent right. You know what? I can't do this accent right off the top of my head, but I'll try. Let's eat cake.
Mm-hmm.
They are hungry for bread. Will them have cake? Because it is illegal for them to eat cake. But if we let them eat cake, then they can eat cake. Surely they can afford it.
Yeah, surely. See, that's just it. That's just it. I mean, but I'm saying it's yeah. I don't know actually what point you were trying to make there. The point is we're not
the Marie Antoinette.
I know
because that
sword,
went over so well for her.
That's exactly yes. See, that's my point. That's my point. It's not going to go over well if people are not going to stay locked down for the rest of their lives. It's just not going to happen. So what's the alternative solution? I don't know, but I mean, of course, if anyone from YouTube is listening, all praise to the WHO, who is infallible, and all of their information is always correct. Okay, so
everything.
Yes, now distract them with loot boxes.
Yeah. So anyway, weren't we here to talk about video games? Maybe we should get back to that.
Yeah. Sorry for the little delay thing where everybody's just at their wits' end.
Well, it's a weird day too, because I had my second vaccine shot yesterday, and so I have been half asleep all day. This is the first point of the day I felt more than like half awake. I'm actually feeling like 65% alert right now. So yeah, apologies that this show is a little bit off the rails, but anyway, new Quake would be cool. I'm interested to see what they're doing at QuakeCon, and I hope that QuakeCon has more to show for it than E3 did.
Mm-hmm.
Another interesting story that I don't know how much there really is to say about this, but yet another former dev from a formerly revered studio, or formerly revered is the wrong word, but you know what I mean. There are a lot of studios that had formerly been respected in the gaming industry. Studios like BioWare, Blizzard, I'm sure we could name many others that just kind of went downhill, went off the rails, whether they were purchased by EA or purchased by Activision or just made a bunch of terrible decisions. And then there's been a lot of founding or senior devs from those studios going out to form their own studios. And we've got another one now. We've got Casey Hudson, former GM of BioWare, project director director on the Mass Effect trilogy and other projects at BioWare, has started a new game studio, and it's called Humanoid Studios. Their website, of course, talks about all kinds of fluffy stuff about believing in the best and, supporting and providing people creative freedom to do their best work. And, it's the kind of thing that you always hear when these studios, put out a new when these studios put out a new, I don't even know what I was trying to say there. When these new studios pop up, and there's been a ton of them. There's been a ton of them from, with people exiting Blizzard, exiting BioWare. And I know I'm forgetting some, but, there's been multiple.
The majority, there's so many people. It's the big B's right now. So Bethesda and BioWare have had the biggest brain drains imaginable right now, and most of these people are now in new studios.
Yes.
So
new studios.
Yeah,
not moving to other studios that were established. They're starting their own studios. Which is really interesting. So there's going to be, I wonder if this is going to lead to some market saturation at some point. But I mean, so just going by, the numbers, some of them are going to succeed and some of them are not going to succeed. So there's going to be, it's kind of, it's for us, for the gaming population, that means that, at least some of them should succeed and produce something really good. So that's good. But Casey Hudson, though, I would say is maybe one of the more controversial figures in this arena. I mean, we have...
I don't know. I think for the longest time, he was held back and directed not to do certain things, and he didn't have as much creative control over what he wanted to have control over. And I think because of that, you're obviously going to see less, if he's getting less freedom, then how much more is he, how much is he going to be able to do? I mean, really, right?
I mean, yes. So,
and I think that was his problem. And again, it's interesting now because now we see that these studios are finally being let free to do what they want, because of changes that are being made at EA. But I think that Casey leaving was one of the things that led to that, right?
But the thing is, he left twice. He left.
Yeah, but he came back with the promise of being able to take things over, and with the promise of being able to reboot a franchise that he basically that was one of his that was his baby. I mean, it was a couple of different people's babies, but that was his baby too, more so than a lot of people at BioWare. And so that's my point, is that he left when he lost control of it the first time, and then he left again because at this point it's just he can't continue to fight, and it sucks. It really honestly does suck. Now the thing that I want to point out is that I understand that. I understand him coming back to to be able to have creative control over his baby, but then he realized that it just wasn't enough. It just wasn't, there wasn't enough things that he could do. He was restrained. He was told that he couldn't do this, he couldn't do that. I bet you he had a story in mind, and I bet you somebody said, no, you can't do that story for the next game. And so he was then, well, like, what story can we do? Well, here's a couple of approved storylines that you're able to run with. Stuff like that. I suspect strongly that that's what he did. But I mean, if I'm writing a book, and we're hitting like the halfway point on it. Now I've written several more books in the series, so the halfway point should actually kind of like speed up from this point onward. It shouldn't be another 2 years. It should just be, hopefully another like 7-8 months ish. Fingers crossed again, but we'll see. But if I lost creative control over that, and then I had the chance to get it back, of course I would. But if I got back and all of the, it's like, well, we've made this change and this change and this change, and you're just going to have to stick with it because, we just decided that that's the best for the franchise. I would be so upset. I would be so hurt. I would feel betrayed, especially if I went from, having potentially a good job at another place and then coming over here and, back to my baby, and my baby is no longer my baby. It's a Rottweiler that likes to bite me. It's like, okay, well, I'm not having fun with this anymore, right? Like that's what it would feel like. So I don't blame anybody who's left BioWare, aside from the person who ever thought Anthem was going to be a great game. Like that person I blame immensely. You're an idiot. But everybody else, I understand why they left. I really do. I really, really do. Yeah, your country thanks you. Right. Lady Reaver. Spot on.
Yeah, so others like Terror K in the live chat would argue that Casey was complicit in EA's shenanigans with the Mass Effect series and was largely responsible for the direction the series took. And he also points out the famous Game Informer interview that's basically 10 pages of outright lies about Mass Effect 3. So, yeah, how do you respond to that? As far as, I mean, understandably, if he had limited creative control, but yeah, at what point is it like, does no responsibility fall to him, as in your opinion, as far as the
No, everybody who has left BioWare and who has left Blizzard in the last like 2 years, and for BioWare probably rank that up to the last 5 years, I do not blame at all. I imagine going into work every single day, you have your creative babies that you created, that you've seen, grow to absolute stardom, and there's a big corporate guy in there, imagine a real disgusting guy, he's just lecherous, he's just rude, he thinks he's the best, although you've never seen him he doesn't even carry his own stuff in, like his little cigar case, his little his wallet, that stuff. He's got 2 different aides that carry that stuff around for him and beg on him on hands and knees, essentially, like here, mister, here's your cigar for the day. Oh, no, thank you, son. Get back to where you are. Now, about your game there. I read what you said. Well, I didn't really read it. I skimmed it. I thought it was mostly stupid. But, yeah, you go ahead and... You go ahead and rewrite what you sent me, because I just, again, I didn't really read it, but I skimmed it, but I don't want a single word being the same thing in there. Well, I'm talking about the same thing. How can I not use the same word? Hey, I'll leave the details to you. That's what you are, you little bookworm. Do that. I switched back into the Jersey one again. But imagine that's your life. How much are you going to take it? Knowing that it might come to an end, or this guy might live for another 40 years telling you every single day what you can and cannot do. Like maybe that's a thing that's going to happen. It has at other companies. There's lots of companies that got taken over or got bad managers in there, and those bad managers stayed in there for as long as they could milk the company. And one of the greatest examples of this is Stargate. Stargate was taken over, the whole franchise as a whole, from MGM. Some jackass came down and was like, hey, yeah, I got some ideas for the show, and you this and that and the other thing, and hey, the first thing we need to do is get rid of all you actors that have been here from the beginning. I really can't stand the sight of you guys. Now get out of here. Now we're gonna do new stuff, and it's gonna be great. And hey, is that a gold-plated thing over there? Yes, sir. We use it in the shots a lot. Oh, cool. Hey, can you take that to my office? I need to have somebody just look over it real quick. Oh, okay, mister. Sure thing. And then, 2 days later, where's that thing, the gold-plated thing? Oh, it went missing. That's what this guy did. I know I'm trying to like blow through it really quickly. MGM put a guy in charge of the Stargate franchise that robbed it blind. And I'm not joking. I believe there was a criminal probe. He got busted for embezzlement, and I believe he spent time in jail. I don't know. It was really depressing, so I stopped paying attention to it at a certain point. That show was great. They were doing so much good things with that, and then this guy comes in and literally just rips it all apart for his own profit. Not like he was making a profit I think it was the GM, as a general manager. He was making so much money, but he wanted more. He didn't want to build a new series up from scratch. I mean, Disney was talking about buying out Star Wars at that point. Why would he invest in making Stargate better when Star Wars was going to be the top reigning sci-fi show, forever? I mean, imagine Star Wars not being the top rated sci-fi show. I mean, come on. That's ridiculous. So Stargate was always going to be, fourth fiddle to all these other things, like Star Trek. Nobody's gonna create a Star Trek show, about discovery that's just so bad that nobody watches it. I mean, that's not going to be a thing that's going to happen. I mean, they got Patrick Stewart still alive, and he's apparently interested in doing another show with it. Like, that's definitely not going to flop badly and just leave a bad taste in people's mouths. No, instead of sitting down and doing the work, he steals from the company and just destroys it. So again, do I blame anybody for leaving Blizzard or BioWare in the last 5 years? Absolutely not. Not even. I don't blame them, and I don't even think they were the problem, because all of them had a boss. And we know that one of them came up with the brilliant statement of saying, if you don't like it, don't buy it. That was his pitch for people to get into the game. I covered this with Max a couple days ago. It's like they had the perfect chance. I've covered it here too. They had the perfect chance. They had the whole IP for Command and Conquer. Command and Conquer is a timey-wimey, tipsy-turvy universe. Like, normal rules don't apply. They mess with the time stream all the time. They literally could have just slapped Command and Conquer Battlefield on the thing, said that it was a time differential, timey-wimey thing, and literally nobody would have had room to complain. But they said, no. This is a perfect iteration of exactly what happened in World War II. Because he said that, people took cadence with it. And why not? Because it's a stupid statement. No video game is a perfect reenactment of anything. Like, it's just not. And to think it is stupid at best. Like stupid at best. At worst, it's malicious. Like, malicious lying for the sake of, like, I don't know, what you like, take any pick on why you would do that. But instead of doing the obvious thing and saying, yeah, it's Command and Conquer thing, it's timey-wimey, tipsy-turvy, you guys are going to help us write the story. You write stories for the characters you play, and we'll feature them, we'll feature like one a day for the next 2 years. They could have done that. They could have done something like that, and they didn't, because they're too stupid to do it. At the same time, the people in charge on the upper echelon, they don't care about the gamers, and they don't care about the IP. They only care in crushing money and appearing to be more generous and what's some of these words for people that take themselves way too seriously, like and just like
Pretentious?
pretentious. Yeah, the pretentious, arrogant, disgusting. Like I was looking at all you poor peasants stuck at home, and I'm sure you have like a 10,000 square foot mansion like I do, and I thought I could just lead the world in this song of we're gonna sing Imagine and Kumbaya, and you guys are just gonna love me because I'm gonna be the greatest person in the world for you. I'm so good at what I do that you guys are just gonna be like, oh, all our problems are solved. Thank you, Mr. Better than me. You're so amazing. And I'm gonna be sitting there like, yes, I am better than all of you all the time. That's what these people are. That's what these corporate heads are. And that's what they think we want. And it's not even close. Again, it's like Blizzard with their stupid stuff. It's like, my goodness, they spent so much time trying to fix a stupid system that nobody likes that they're like, well, you're gonna eat it anyways. It's like pouring the worst cereal you can imagine, mixing it like 75% with 25% of your favorite cereal, and then plopping it down in front of you and saying, you want your sugar O's, you want your frosted flakes, you want your whatever, you gotta eat it with this garbage that tastes like cardboard. Turns out it's not even that good for you either. I always thought it was hilarious that my dad was so against sugar that he'd go out and he'd make sure that he gets like the non-sweetest sugar, no sugar cereal that he could possibly imagine. And turns out this stuff's basically the same. Like, it's a little bit better for you, but not by much. It's like it's like this. You're saving so little. It's like fat-free, or it's like half-fat ice cream. It's like ice cream is made out of literally just fat. Like fat and a little bit of protein, but it's like majority fat. And it's like these low-fat ice creams take 10% of that out. It's like, what's the point? It's only 10%.
Why not just have the original? But yeah, no, like that seems to be what happens when the group becomes too big, because it becomes a giant game of telephone, and the communication just isn't there anymore from the group to the fans or the consumers or whatever the case may be, right? Because like with the kind of structure getting bigger and bigger, there's some maybe superfluous positions like certain management or whatever, where they just somehow talk a good talk, right place, right time, and they go in and they're like, oh yes, I know exactly what to do. Let me show you, and then they just tear it all down because they have no clue.
It's the I've said this before, it's the failing upwards. So yeah,
Yep.
I don't blame anybody for leaving. I really don't.
No.
I can't, because I know for a fact that these companies never cared about you, and they were telling these people who have been there since the inception of these things, a lot of them were there from day one. A lot of them were there as nerdy teenagers, fresh out of college, in some cases, fresh out of high school, doing any job they can. They clawed their way up the ladder, and they're still in gaming. They didn't retire. They didn't take their money and ride off into the sunset. They're still in gaming. They want to create, but they were told no, 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 no every single day. Moon and I, we both know supervisors that don't believe in the concept of positive reinforcement. I mean, you don't even do that to a dog. Like, you don't even train a dog with nothing but negative reinforcement, because if you do, you know what you get: an angry, unable to work or offer any kind of interaction dog that's just messed up. That's all you get out of it. And some of these people, they think that's the norm. They think that's what makes them a good leader. They think they're some army sergeant, drilling in the heads of these stupid people that have come to work for them and make a paycheck. It's like, ugh.
It's like they think they're better.
Yeah.
It's that whole arrogance.
So I don't know if that answers your question, Ash, but that's the long answer.
To be honest, I don't even remember what my question was. Oh yeah, it was about
Do you blame Casey
the
Hudson
people
for
that left. Is
failure?
it Casey? And so, well, I mean, with his new
I
studio,
mean, I'm not gonna encourage anybody to go rush out pre-order his game, right?
which probably doesn't even exist yet. I mean, they just found it in the studio.
Right, it's probably in it's no doubt he's got a concept for it.
I'm sure he's got
an idea.
Oh yeah,
of
I'm
the
sure he's got
genre.
ideas.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm also really curious as to where it is too. I'm really did he stay in Alberta, Canada, or did he move to is he back in the States? Like I'm really curious as to where he's setting this up. It was really lucrative for a long while. It was really lucrative to make a gaming company in Alberta, Canada, because you got 50% of the wages for your entire staff were paid for by the government. Talk about a good deal, eh? But yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure how I feel about that from a
taxpayer's point of view.
As a taxpayer, I mean, I don't know if it was the province or the country, but
it was the province.
Anyway, doesn't matter. I mean, yeah. That thought train just went off a cliff, so I'm gonna switch gears here. Sorry, I'm still, again, the brain fog from my shot yesterday is lingering.
The brain fog from the 110 degrees.
Well, not so bad that. Yeah, I haven't been too warm today because I've like I said, my office is in the My office is in the basement, so. But man, yeah. So we have been all over the place today, and honestly, we had those two stories, and there hasn't been a ton more to talk about.
Yeah, no,
I'm scrolling through news right now, and there's just very, very small stories, all here, there, and everywhere.
Well, it's release day for Warcraft's next big expansion drop. There's a reason why they choose the days that they choose, because if there's nothing going on, people are more likely to play WoW. So that answers that question for you right there.
Mm-hmm. Tara says, I don't blame Casey for leaving. I blame him for not leaving a decade ago. Okay, interesting. I will take care of myself later.
Again, I mean, I will wait to see what he puts out when he is the boss. That's when I think I can make my determination on his character. Because right now, all I have to go on is his reputation, and it wasn't bad. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. So I don't know. I really don't know.
Right.
We'll see, obviously.
I mean, Mass Effect 3, he was in charge, but he was also in charge for Mass Effect 1 and 2, was he not? Like he was the director for
and you got to remember that I believe that the ending for 3 was not written by him. As far as I know. I'll have to double check, but as far as I know, it was the two uppers at the studio. They had a very small team, and they did this surprise ending. Nobody knew the ending of the game aside from basically a team of 5 people at the studio. And I don't believe Casey was on that list. I have to double check, but for some reason, I think it was one of the reasons why he left to begin with, because he wasn't involved on that, and it all came down on him. And again, I'm speaking from my head cooking at 115 degrees right now, and so I'm not positive. I'm going to have to look into it and just make sure. But yeah, I seem to recall that he was not the one who made that choice, and he was really upset that the choice was made without him being able to offer anything to it. So I'm not sure, because again, you didn't have that in any of the other games. So why did you expect it to be there, right? And he was in charge of most of it. So I don't know. That's just kind of where I'm at. But anyways, we can call it early if you want, because I mean, like I said, it's 100 and something, and I need more water.
All right. Well, let us know in the chat if there's any other stories you want us to touch on for the next. I mean, we've got about 10 minutes left here in our typical time. We might call it early here if there's not much to discuss. again, just scrolling through some stories. A lot of stories about Windows 11. I got to look into that. I don't want them. I really hope they don't do that.
Coming out in like it's coming out in the next year or two.
Yes, and
then they're gonna quit 10, but everybody gets a free upgrade. So I'm just crossing my fingers.
I don't want it.
Support.
I have seen on the good side of things, they have this massively cool ENB, or sorry, that's like the modders term for it. They have this cool technology that will take games that are older and will add new levels of contrast, filtering, and digital enhancement that makes the games look significantly better. That's really cool. I'm sure there's going to be some games that it makes it look horrendous, but that is really cool. I think we're seeing that some of Windows is still, it still has a gaming root to it, which I hope so, and I hope Windows doesn't change. I'm hearing some bad rumors, but for now, all easy rumors. So
I just hope they don't. I just hope it's not Windows 10 again, where they're pushing updates on people, and pushing you to update to Windows 10, and you update, and then it just completely doesn't work with your hardware.
I like having the option, not being forced to have the choice made for me. That choice is nice.
Yeah.
So Tara K says that it was written by him and Mac Walters. Now I knew Mac Walters was on that, but again, I'm not positive it was Casey. I thought it was somebody else at the studio. Again, I really need to look this up and check it out. But I know that it was basically two guys, a handful of animators got brought in, and basically they did a small amount of work, and none of the other writing staff, none of the other people got to put in their 2 cents, and there was a lot of continuity breaks. There was a lot of errors in logic and other stuff. So, but I gotta check that term again.
All right. Well, look into
but
that.
yeah,
maybe we'll circle back on that. Future show then.
It's a good story.
So we know we spoke not in depth, but I'm sure a lot of our listeners are aware of the allegations against Chris Avalon that were leveled against him last year. And anyway, I don't want to dive too deep into this one way or the other.
Is there a new addition to the story, or?
Yeah, he is. He's suing for libel against.
Oh, good, yeah, because the person who came out with that basically said that, she came out and said, okay, it didn't actually happen. She got busted because it was one of the evidences that she put out, that she claimed that he was here at this particular place and time, and that he did this to her. And when she made that, he was able to confirm that he was on the other side of the country at that time.
Well.
And that made her story fall apart. She got questioned by, I believe it was by police, and she basically said that she made the whole thing up because she felt that the gaming industry needed more, Me Too events. The gaming industry doesn't need enough. The gaming industry doesn't need more Me Too events. It needs people to stand up for the ones that are existing, for the ones that are real. You don't need to manufacture something because you think that an industry needs more of a horrendous, horrible thing. You're a disgusting human being if you think that that's the case. If there are lots of problems still ongoing, check Ubisoft in the last 5 years,
sure.
Crying out loud. Check a handful of these other companies. It's disgusting.
If you're gonna make up fake ones, then all that does is dilute the true ones and makes people less trusting.
And again, it makes it all about her too. That's the other thing that's disgusting. We see people doing these big, I'm just gonna stand up here and turn my back and then trash the thing that that's going on behind me because I hate you all. That's the message that they're sending, and it's disgusting. It's absolutely gross, and it's and again, there sure is a lot of that stuff going on, and I am disgusted by it. I think every person with a brain is disgusted with it.
Oh, of course, yes. I mean, yeah. If the like let's just say, like if the allegations were true, that is disgusting. And you want to support and believe the people that this is actually happening to, and that it does happen a lot. I mean, it's rampant in Hollywood, and I get disgusted
Many
by
areas,
the
right?
celebrities who stand up and they're like, it's time to speak the truth, and Oprah getting up and saying, oh, we have to support these people. Yeah, you knew what was going on for decades and you didn't say shit about it, so shut up.
Yeah.
But
Hollywood is the worst example of this, because as we discovered just this last week with this whole Britney thing, it's like it is rotten to the core. And I'm not making any allegations, but it apparently is okayed by a lot of judges and lawyers and other people that are in that whole system, and it's disgusting, and it needs to be rooted out and just turned over on its head, and it's just disgusting.
Yeah. No,
but but trying to make stuff up, and the ambulance chasing that you had, that's a term for like people who are like, oh, look, all that bus just had a big crash there. Look at all those people. Oh dear, I appear to have gotten whiplash. Oh, I know I wasn't in the bus or anywhere near it, but I got whiplash. I need to sue somebody. Like that's what these people do. And they do it in every industry. Literally every industry. There was that one cruise ship accident that was like hilariously bad, and it lost like over $1 billion for the company, and so many people, a lot of people died, and that was not funny at all. That was horrendous and terrible. But what was funny about it was that there was a random person who just showed up and said, "Hey, I lost my granddaughter. She was lost on the ship, and oh dear, it's so terrible. How much money do you think I could get?" And then they found out that the person wasn't even missing, and that the whole thing was staged. And it's like, you people are disgusting. Oh my God, that is so gross. Like, oh look, there's a horrible event going on. Let's see how much profit I can make off of this. Now again, there's people who do this all the time, and there's a fine rule between trying to like help and trying to like ambulance chase, and there is a difference between those two things. But and sometimes it looks somewhat similar, and I think everybody who's been legitimately hurt deserves their day in court and deserves to win over the top of the person who hurt them through either maliciousness or stupidity or whatever, with accountable fair laws. I think that's a good thing. But like, good Lord, this stuff is just like ugh, makes me sick.
Well, both sides of it are sickening. Like the actual abuse and stuff that happens is sickening, and I personally know people who are dealing with this in the court system, and trying to get it prosecuted is tough enough. And so the people that want to lie about it and say it happened when it didn't, and make it even harder for the people it really happened to, are also disgusting. And that's not to mention then the lives that they could ruin by making false allegations. So it's not either or. Like, I've talked a lot recently about how people seem to have this tribalistic mindset now, and it's like either it's this or it's that. Well, what if it's there can be some of both, and there are some of both. So anyway, you'll like this one though, Saib. Legend of Mana is getting an anime adaptation.
Oh, that's cool.
So
I hope they do it right. I hope it's not some terrible computer generated version.
Well, yeah.
I hate it when they do that.
Exactly.
But yeah, I'm fingers crossed that they do it right. I love a lot of those characters. I really enjoyed those games. The one that I streamed was, I think, a very good iteration of it, or version of it. I don't believe that the one that came before that one that I played, and the most recent one that was announced, I don't think those are great iterations of it. I think they're like mildly okay. They need a lot more tech and a lot more polish on those things to really like bring them out. The middle one though, the one that I streamed, was absolutely amazing, 100%. Like, there was only one really crappy voice actor in it. Everybody else was, really decent for what it was, which was not a AAA release. It was a remake, a faithful remake of the original. So it had a small budget, and it was a remake. It wasn't expanding on stuff. So of course, some of the maps were a little dry because back 25 years ago, you didn't have the ability to make these really custom deep maps with tons and tons of stuff. Sometimes it was just a room full of enemies, and you had to deal with it and move on. So yeah. Anyways, I was impressed. I'm hopeful. So fingers crossed that it's something good.
By the way, Terra K just posted an article on the Discord server about the Mass
it was
Effect
Patrick
3.
Weeks.
No, but Patrick Weeks says that the ending was written by Casey Hudson and Mac Walters.
Okay. Yeah. Again, I need to double read it, check it over, but yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, though, we're at the top of the hour, so I guess we'll wrap up for today. But thank you so much, everybody, for sticking with us. I know it was a bit of an odd show today, but sometimes things take a bit of a different direction, especially on a slow news week. But we're glad you joined us. Please do slam that like button, subscribe, check out our main channel, the Triple S League, if you haven't yet already. There's a variety of other content there, comedy, guides, and things like that. All gaming content, but comedies and video game guides and various things, certain gameplay, live stream videos, things like that. And we have a Discord server where a lot of fun things happen. A lot of great people, a lot of great conversations. Check it out. You can find the link in the description below. And if you're interested, you can find links there to the Patreon and the merch store and everything else related to the Triple S League. This is the Augmented Reality Podcast. And thank you for joining us today. And special thank you to our Patreon supporters and channel members who help to make this content possible. You've seen their names appearing in gold and silver at the top of the screen, and several of them were in our chat today. Thank you all so much. Really appreciate that. And that's it for us. We're out of here. So thank you so much for listening. We'll talk to you again very soon.